interim CRO working model that we picked with you. I think in the end was exactly the right tool in the box.
Max, maybe over to you first. Like, who are you? What is Recare doing? Where are you roughly in terms of maturity, revenue, company stage, and why did we get here?
Hi, Manu. Thanks a lot. It was indeed a pleasure working with SalesPlaybook. My name's Max. I'm the founder and CEO of Recare. We're a software as a service company serving hospitals with a solution to optimize their discharge management. So basically, when patients leave the hospital, we help orchestrate the whole process, make it easy, facilitate finding capacities with post-discharge care providers, all of that stuff. We are approaching Series B stage right now. And the challenge that we had when we started working with SalesPlaybook is that we were transitioning from a phase where our primary sales strategy has been market share acquisition, no matter what. So we really came from a very aggressive new customer strategy, which we now want to transition towards a sales strategy that is focused around upselling, cross-selling high-value products to our customers to enable sustainable long-term growth with the customer base that we have. And that was something where we felt we need support, as you know, we came from a very different setting and background in the way we operated the last years, and that's pretty much where we took off. And again, very happy to have taken that step because so far it went very successful for us.
Yeah, thanks so much for the intro. And I mean, there's always reasons to buy, like from SalesPlaybook in this case, and there's triggers to buy, right? Like the why you just described, like why do you want to take action? Like what was your why now in terms of working fairly intensely with us and Christoph?
Yes, so we had a special situation where we or two of our, let's say, key internal stakeholders have left the company. So that left us with a bit of a gap in the operations and sales area, where also, I mean, I guess most founders at a company size below 100 employees will know this. At this stage, if this happens, it's on you as a founder to some degree. So I had to go into a founder sales mode fairly strongly again, more than I would have wished for. And in the stage we are, I wasn't in a position where I should have invested all that time into operational stuff, because it kept me from working on the company. So I had to work in the company rather than on the company, which in our stage is nothing a CEO should do, in my opinion, or only for a very limited amount of time. And I had a strong need for someone experienced to come in, take over, this role, the restructuring of the organization that we need to do this transition from new customer acquisition heavy to up and cross-selling primarily. And we needed someone senior who can do the job without, wasting too much time on, getting to know everything. We really needed power on the street, as we would say in German. And that was pretty much our situation.
Yes, and I think like one point you mentioned like there was time, right? Like you needed the person now, not like 6 months down the line. Like in venture capital backed businesses, like time is usually not your friend. And if you go back to your Series A, investors are like, yeah, we'll just need another year. It's going to be fine. Not what you want to tell them. What was your reasoning to work with SalesPlaybook versus just like getting a headhunter to get like a new restaff the 2 roles you mentioned, versus working with like an agency just on lead gen or like on something else? Yeah.
So honestly, for me, you guys had a lot of credibility. I've been following your content also on LinkedIn, Manu, for some time. And when we had our first talk, I really liked the way you presented yourselves, in the way that you think about doing sales. We had the impression that you guys are really, doing sales from a modern best practice way. When I talk about sales at any software company, really, I think what we're looking for is something that's more process oriented, that's education oriented, that uses digital tools and technology in a very sensible way, and that ensures scalability, not just being good at literally kind of selling something to a customer. And I got the impression with all the content you guys did, and obviously we also had some recommendations that led to you, that we can have the trust that working with you is nice. And then also the basically interim CRO working model that we picked with you, I think in the end was exactly the right tool in the box that Recare needed at the point. It would have been too long for us to work with a headhunter in this regard.
Yeah, I love that insight. I mean, you described the challenge very much, and then maybe over to you, Christoph, as well. What did we actually do in this collaboration, from in your own words, right? Like, what were the initiatives you took with Max and the team and with Moritz to drive this up and cross-selling, to drive this expansion play, and also set up the organization towards Series B?
Yeah, I think one big moment was the first meeting when I joined the discussion. I think it was end of September, and 3 days later I started already. So talking about speed, I didn't have that in my plan, but we made it happen basically. Number two was a clear target definition by Max. I want my time back. Yeah, I want to work on the company and not in the company. And I don't have the time for that. So I need to get rid of the 40 direct report meetings that he's juggling. So you need to take that on. And there's only one way to do that, doing it. And that was very clear right from the start. So very clear target definition. And from our side, number one, very important, expectations management. And here, checking, can we deliver on that need? And honest calculation. Can I fit that into my schedule? What do we do with that and this and that? So I think that was the very important first step. Trust building is then a given. Yeah. So if you manage that and pull through. Number two, as Max said, there's not much time in an agile, growing, land grab mode startup if you know that there is a deadline to the land grab. And the deadline was very clear, at least for 80-90% of the land grab. That was 31st of December. So what you haven't achieved as pre-planning for that date, for making the company future-proof for beyond 31st of December, if that hasn't been done by 1st of December, you're running basically out of road. Yeah, the wall is coming and it will not wait for you. It will stay there until you hit it. So you need to make sure you change course right at least a month before. And year end means always the year ends normally 16th, 18th of December and not 31st. And that's what we immediately did then, analyzing how can we make this organization future-proof, bringing it up to speed forward to cross-selling, upselling. AI, here in this context, it's not a buzzword, it's not but it's a technological jump that the company logically needs to take. And from land grab to cross upselling AI, it's a huge step for an organization. It's rather more than one, it's 2 or 3 steps even. And that's where we are now. We have a clear understanding how the organization will work in the future. The changed organization model, how that will be set up. We'll have very soon the first clear, dedicated organizational changes. So org chart and everything. And that should be up and running on 1st of February. And
That's an amazingly short transformation time, right? Because that's like some people get it. Like I think Max, like you've been also on like the trust level, right? Like you became my example of like taking decisions swiftly, and this is why customers and partners and employees and investors take decisions with you swiftly. Like energy transpires. I think like our sales velocity together was around like 7 days for this engagement.
Yes.
Because like this is what I need, this is what I want to get, these are the questions I have. Like, okay, good, answered, like in good faith, like come to the office, let's go. And time is literally the most underestimated component in this. So I think that what you did together, like a million spirit of Max together, like between like October, November, December, January, like in just 4 months, like it's amazing at this stage, because I see many companies taking 12 months for that and then delay Series B that makes convertibles necessary and all these things. In terms of impact quantified, and I know you might not be able, like within like Series B fundraising efforts and so on, to speak about very specific numbers. Anything that you like to share in terms of net revenue retention, in terms of like expansion, in terms of like how that transferred into like the report you probably have in Salesforce?
Yes.
For the numbers you're going to tell.
So I think at this point, because what we've been executing in practice was still the rest of the land grabbing strategy, we don't really see concrete results of what we've been doing in the numbers right now. But I think what's maybe very important to stress is that we have the ambition, and what I believe, and Christoph contributed to this very strongly, a very reasonable bottom-up sales plan for 2025, where we want to grow 100% year on year in recurring revenue. And the work that we've been putting into the organization and the restructuring was to enable us to, in our opinion, really realistically be able to execute on this plan and achieve 100% year-on-year growth in 2025. Of course, it's still up to us to prove that we can make this happen. But if you would ask me for, what's the outcome, I think on a qualitative level, very concretely, it was enabling us to go down that road in a way that both our employees and shareholders believe it's absolutely possible. Where if we hadn't done the restructuring this way, I think can be sure that the company wouldn't have been in a state to try to execute this ambition of growth in 2025.
Yeah, no, I think like what you like might be too humble to mention, like you will do so in a very capital efficient way, right? We see many venture-backed companies, they need like 10 million to get like from 500K to like 2 million ARR, and then they need a lot of 10. You're gonna basically go like very close to like 8-figure ARR with like less than 8 figures in funding.
Yes.
So like it basically enables you to scale towards 10 million before you Series B, which puts you in a very, very good position for that.
Absolutely.
Anything else that you'd like to share on who you would recommend working with SalesPlaybook, and also who not? Like we appreciate this qualification in video feedbacks.
Honestly, I think for founders in the end who, in the end, right, have to take these decisions. One thing that I personally very much value about working with SalesPlaybook is just the human interaction, because life is stressful enough, and I really valued that every interaction we had. Also working with Christoph in his interim CRO position was on a human level very, very pleasant. So it actually, I don't mean to sound esoteric, but it gave energy rather than taking energy. And I think as a founder, that is an incredibly important aspect in the people, or choosing the people that you work with, because ultimately there's enough stressful stuff that takes your energy, and you don't want to be, you don't want this kind of stuff to be, stressful, but relieving. And especially on the sales side, as any startup has growth pressure in our stage, it means something if you work with someone that you can trust, that you can be honest with, and that you have a feeling there's a level of mutual integrity. So that is something I really valued.
Yeah, highly appreciate it. I think it's not esoteric at all. I think it's all about energy management of time. Like Sam Altman of OpenAI has the same amount of time in like his biological life as we do. I might get like a lot more done than other people. So it's all about energy management of time, and the trust component which you mentioned. Like, yes, I think it's truly from always be closing to always scaling trust, and that is deciding if companies scale to 8 figures or not in 2025.
Exactly. And as you talk about trust, I think trust also translates to time in the end, because if you think about a lot of the time we spend is due to a lack of trust. And for example, with you guys, I never felt I had to, like go all dig deep onto the timesheets and make sure, that something felt is not right. So I think being able to have a trustful relationship in the end also saves time and energy.
100%. Anything that you'd like to add to that, Christoph?
No, trust is the one thing that brought me to getting rid of this interim thing, because I didn't have that on my plan, but officially announced that now, as of 1st of February, I will strike out the interim and will take responsibility, not as a consultant or interim, but as a full-time believer in Recare. And that's trust in the other direction.
Very much so. And I think that also differentiates you from what Jason Lemkins qualifies as the done, like they only fractional, they don't only want to show slides and tell anecdotes, to like actually doing things, and even more so in 2025. So congrats on that hire, Max.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, and all the best of success towards the journey for 8 figures. Amazing what you're doing with Recare, so much needed, and thanks so much for sharing.
Thanks a lot, Manu, and very much looking forward to keep working together in other ways in the future.